The NFL owners at their meeting this week have decided that players will be allowed to play in the Olympics during 2028 in the flag football games. So this is going to be exciting, and it's time to make the dream team for this flag football roster if the Olympics were this year and if we were going off the current pool of players, because it would be pretty hard to project into the future, but Jeremiah Smith might be on that team. So let's just go ahead and get right into the rules, and then we'll get into the players. So the rules of flag football, they vary across different leagues, but what the Olympics have decided to do are a 5-on-5 competition where there will be a quarterback, three receivers, and a center on offense. And then on defense, you will have two cornerbacks, two safeties, and a rusher. So the way that this works, the center is not going to actually protect the quarterback. All the center is doing is snapping the ball, and then once they do that, they are able to run a route. Unlike the actual NFL, where centers don't do anything except snap and block. And then for the rusher on defense, I think there is a certain amount of time to when they are able to rush, and they have to start the play 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Sorry, and then once that expires, they're able to rush the quarterback. But as soon as that rusher crosses the line of scrimmage, your quarterback is able to run the ball. So that is a wrinkle that is thrown into this that will make this team construction very interesting. And that affects the first position on the team, which is quarterback. So because of the rusher and the ability to rush the ball, you need a shifty guy. You need a guy who can launch it down the field, as well as a guy who can really be elusive with the ball as a runner. Sorry. And he's just got to be someone who can make big plays happen. And you know who can do exactly that? Lamar Jackson out of the Baltimore Ravens. This is a guy who he's just built for backyard flag football. He's a guy who really just makes plays, like I already said. He's a guy who can be elusive and swifty and just bring another level to this flag football team, and that's exactly what we need. And then for the receivers, which we'll have three of them, I just think you got the two best receivers in the league. I think you got to put them on this team. Justin Jefferson has already voiced his interest to be on this team, so I'm going to put him there too. And then someone people might argue is better than Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. He is one of the best receivers in the league, and he can do it all. Him and Jay Jettas, they both mix speed and route running in together to be elite guys, and there's no way athletes from other countries will be able to cover these guys right here. And then, just to add on to that, the 4.21 blistering speed of Xavier Worthy. They're going to have to put track stars on the field to be able to cover this guy right here. And he might not be the most refined actual NFL player, but put him in flag football, let him run down the field, and nobody is stopping that man. And at the center position, which is really interesting because, like I already said, they snap the ball and then they run a route. But we don't have any evidence of anybody that can actually snap the ball in the league except for centers, and centers obviously can't run routes. So I decided to put a tight end here, and you got to have a tight end who is swifty, elusive, can make big plays, and Brock Bowers can do exactly that. So the big body of Brock Bowers, if he can learn how to snap, which I'm sure with 2 weeks, 1 week of training, he'll be able to do that to the level that this Olympic team chooses. And then this is probably the best option, I think, unless you want to put a receiver here and then just have someone do that, just snap in and run super fast, run actual routes. But Brock Bowers can do that too. So for that reason, Brock Bowers is our center. Now it's time to move on to the defense. Like I already said, two corners, two safeties, and a rusher. So the two corners I decided to go with were the defensive player of the year, Pat Surtain, and Sauce Gardner. I think these are two of the best pure coverage corners in the league. And that's what these guys are going to be asked to do, just cover. So I think you got to put them in there. And then at the safety position, I think you got to have guys who can really do it all, can be all over the field, can guard all sorts of people. And Kyle Hamilton and the guy who's just going to be down the road from the Coliseum, in Derwin James. He lives in LA. So he should be able to maybe even not have to stay in the team hotel and just go from his house to the arena when he needs to. So I mean that's something that's really interesting, and I think that would be a heavy storyline, and I think that would be something that's really interesting. And then for the rusher, you got to have someone who's big, able to deflect passes, but also can get to the rusher. I was thinking maybe a more slight linebacker, but Micah Parsons is too good. He has too much of a personality for them to turn him down, and he's already expressed a lot of interest in possibly joining this Olympic run. So I think he would be the rusher in this scenario, and I think he would be a perfect fit for this team. And finally, who would be the head coach? And my mind immediately went to who's the best, just pure schemer, pure play caller in the league, and I think that's Sean McVay. So your head coach would be Sean McVay. Your quarterback would be Lamar Jackson. You would have Xavier Worthy, Justin Jefferson, Brock Bowers, Jamar Chase. And then on defense, you have guys like Kyle Hamilton, Pat Surtain, Sauce Gardner. This team would be scary. It'd be a lot of fun to watch. And we should get easy gold. Like absolute domination in every game. But we'll see. And this should be a fun addition to the Olympics.